Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score. I'm your host Steve Ortman. Alongside me this week, Tim O'Neill. Now, Tim, last week we talked a little volleyball. And this week, we're going to get back to some high school football. Because who doesn't love a little high school football? Now, a few weeks ago, I sang because I was so excited. Brendan wasn't as excited to sing about volleyball. But nonetheless, here we are, ready to talk some more football. And we're going to start the big news. Western Dubuque continues their undefeated season, and Drake George is continuing along on what could be a very, very memorable season.
Absolutely. Western Dubuque improved to 3-0 for the second consecutive season with a big win Friday night. They beat Decorah 19-3. It was the first time since at least 2002 that the Bobcats had beaten Decorah, which, as a lot of people know, is a pretty strong program traditionally. So a huge win for the Bobcats, and Drake George had another big game, another 100-yard game. And the pace he's on now, he currently has 26 receptions, 456 yards, and 6 touchdowns through just 3 games. That puts him on pace for 78 catches, 1,368 yards, and 18 touchdowns, which would absolutely blow away the season records he set last year. Now, I decided to check in on the state records.
That's good reporting.
Absolutely. Got to know where you're going. He would need a few extra games. Obviously, his pace is for 9 games. These records were set in 11, 12, and 14 games. But the state records are 102 receptions, 1,602 yards, and 23 touchdowns. So if the Bobcats are able to make a run to the semifinals or the state final, get to the Unidome, obviously he'd be in line to challenge for some of those records. But it's our job to look ahead.
Indeed.
And it's fun to look ahead, but obviously there are a lot of games yet to go, so still got a ways to go before that starts to become a reality. But after beating Decorah and getting that first historical win in a long time, Bobcats have a chance to do the same thing again this week on the road. They're going to play at North Scott. This is a program that has been traditionally strong as well. It was a 4A team for a long time, and it shared the district title with the Bobcats when they were up in Class 4A. Now, the Bobcats, according to Coach Justin Penner, have never beaten North Scott, as far as he knows. Now, that could change depending on way back when in the 70s and 80s, back before the MVC took its current shape today. But that's where they're going. And last year, they started 3-0 as well, but they went 0-4 after that, so they're going to try avoid repeating that history as well. That's it for my ramble, Steve. Back to you.
Well, not too bad for a ramble. Now, that's going to be a great matchup on Friday night. Western Dubuque just moved up to number 6 in the Class 3A rankings, and North Scott is ranked number 8. So it's going to be a top 10 matchup on Friday night. Should be a good one. Now, we're going to bring back here in the city a tough Friday night for the 3 city teams. They all go down.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the first time this season that all 3 of the city teams lost. Dubuque Waller lost to DeWitt Central to fall to 0-3. And Dubuque Senior fell on the road to Cedar Rapids, Washington to fall 0-2. Here in Dalzell Field, Hempstead had a hard-fought game with number 2 ranked Bettendorf. The Mustangs took an early 14-6 lead on a circus one-handed catch by Joey Vise that turned into a 66-yard touchdown. The Mustangs took that 14-6 lead. Unfortunately, Bettendorf was able to rally back and eventually took that game 29-21. Hempstead fell to 1-2, but still plenty of time to bounce back from that. Coming up this week, games here in the city. Iowa City West is playing at Senior. Clinton is playing at Wahlert. And Hempstead is at Iowa City High.
All right. Well, we'll be sure to be covering all those games for you here this Friday night. And now, looking at my side of things, Tim, what I saw this past Friday night was... Whoa! Did you see that?
No.
It was like a soaring comet. How the heck did that get in here? Oh, there it was again!
I saw it that time.
You saw it that time?
I saw it that time.
That, my friend, you didn't know, that, my friend, was a soaring comet by the name of Hunter Clasen for the Bellevue football team. The Comets are off to a 3-0 start. They just cracked the Iowa Class 1A rankings at number 9, and Mr. Hunter Clasen, senior running back and linebacker, is having a terrific season. This young man was unbelievable last year, and he's a huge reason why they're 3-0 here now to start this season. An impressive 36-7 win on the road against Monticello to move to 3-0. And Hunter now on the season through 3 games, he has rushed 62 times for 523 yards and 12 touchdowns. And he's also a dual threat out of the backfield. He's got just 4 catches, but they are for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has been just an offensive dynamo for the Comets, who will be hosting Clayton Ridge on Friday night in Bellevue. I'll be at that game. This will be my first look at the Comets, and I'm excited to take a look at this team. The Eagles are off to an 0-3 start, kind of been having rough sledding, so it could be a big night for the Comets, and I'm excited to take a look at it. And just in case you're curious, he's not just a producer on the offensive side of the ball. At linebacker so far this season, he's got 16 tackles and 3 solo sacks, so he's a threat on just about every side, every area of the field, Hunter Clasen. And so I'm excited to see the Bellevue Comets on Friday night, and other teams that have been receiving votes this past Monday in the recent poll. Cascade in Class 1A, they're receiving votes. They're 2-1. And Edgewood Colesburg, 2-1 in the season. They're also receiving votes in the Class A field. So all the football coming up here on Friday night, we'll have you covered at TelegraphHerald.com as well as in the print edition. So that is going to do it for this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score. I am your host, Steve Ortman, alongside Tim O'Neill. We will see you next week.